Ahoy there! I'm in my new office and my lighting is just like dreadful. It looks like I'm being cross examined. But be that as it may, motorcycling and safety is something that is near and dear to me because I had a friend that showed me that. And so, how do we find scholarship? How do we find evidence based on that? Because there's a lot of opinions. So, for example, some people feel that if their motorcycle is really, really loud, they say loud pipes save lives or something like that. Well, do we have evidence for something like that? Here's how you would go about it. So go to the advanced catalog search, and since a theme, so we're looking at mechanics and basic controls, which I think it might be education, but like knowing how it works is safety gear, best practices for beginners, statistics on motorcycle safety. Safety's a theme. So we can do motorcycle, spelling counts. So when we do this search, I think if I did this in the class, you get everything that has the word motorcycle in it. If you do an and, which also shows up right here, safety, then you get everything that has both of those words in it. So it's significantly smaller. So what we do at this point is, let's see, I have notes all over the place. So here's what I would suggest for you. There are subcategories of motorcycling and safety. So there's like gear, but that might not be talked about as much as like a whole overarching look at safety. So I would say maybe look for things that are specifically in the title that have motorcycle and safety. It narrows it down, and so there'll be like tips for maintaining the roadways. There's like helmet use and things like that. Beware, like they're like 2009. Beware that some of these things are not scholarly. So if you need to have like peer-reviewed scholarly stuff, you just click on this. But then it starts getting really dry. So there'll be like studies in Nepal. This might be where you're looking for your data and your statistics. Oftentimes they'll talk about these things in specific populations because it's easier than doing it like for everybody. So you say people of Portugal or people of Utah. There's your motorcycle safety. Sometimes if you want those statistics, let me show you another place to go. If you go to USA.gov, these are all the web pages produced by federal, state, county, municipal, that shows up in one great search. I like the look of this person where they're looking up. They're like, did you take the photo yet? So if you type in motorcycle or motorcycles in a government website, they're not going to have anything like fun, but it's going to be the regulations and the policies and, oh cool, the United States Navy has their own training program. So you could say statistics. Yay, Bureau of Transportation. I always thought it was Department of Transportation, like DOT. Is it the BOT instead? At any rate, this is where you're going to find a lot of those things. I would say you can like narrow it down to a state, Utah crash summary, but it doesn't matter where you go. And you could type in keywords like helmets or gear, and maybe there'll be things in there. So the National Highway Safety Transportation Association or something like that has some data that's pretty reasonable. So USA.gov. But coming back to here, let's go and look instead. I'll have that be any field. And let's do education or training. So I'm looking in motorcycle and safety, but specifically under motorcycle and training. And this is where you might find some of the good things that you were looking for. So if you go peer-reviewed journals and like maybe the last 5 years, that'll narrow it down a ton. I have to click peer-reviewed again. These will be like public policy where they're trying to do something and then they're measuring it. So here, even though this is Indonesia, they're doing like a road safety challenge, which sounds like an initiative or a program or a public health campaign, and then they might have data about that. So determinants of helmet usage. So this is going to be from like all over the world. Vietnam, famous for their motorcycle chaos. It's like apparently one of the least safe places to ride a motorcycle is like downtown Hanoi, Vietnam. So you don't have to worry if you wanted to look at the United States, just go through the articles and see which ones are the United States. A lot of them are going to be from the UK and Europe, like I mentioned before. In the same one, you can do statistics, but I think USA.gov is going to be the best. Last one I want to show you is policy. And let's have that be in the title, because we want that to be an important thing. So if you look for policy, this is where people have taken the data and they've turned it into a law or a policy or an insurance. So ensuring traffic safety. So these are what's also called interventions. And this is where they'd give you the data, like everyone who wore a helmet in this state versus everyone who didn't wear a helmet that was engaged in a wreck or something like that. And you could do policy, and you could even add, again, helmet. And you can go granularly, helmet, jackets, gloves, airbags, crash detection sensors, all sorts of different things like that. Does this help? If there's anything that you want that you can't quite track down, let me know, because there's so many different little angles of this.